Here's the key scripture that you want to make note of. 2 Kings 19:29. Yahweh knew that we didn't know how to keep chronology before that time. So he gave us a sign. What is the sign? The Sabbath. It's a sign in your hand and between your eyes. The Sabbath. So he's talking about a Sabbath here. This shall be a sign to you. You shall eat this year what grows of itself, and in the second year what springs from the same. Also in the third year sow and reap, plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. What's he talking about? This is 701 BC. Hezekiah was dying. Isaiah came to him and told him this is the sign. Rabshakeh, the general for Sennacherib's army, came and read this to Hezekiah. Surrender. We've beaten everyone else. You should surrender too. Hezekiah took it to the temple and gave it to Yahweh. And this is his reply. 185,000 men died that night of the Assyrian army. And Sennacherib went home with his tail between his legs. 701 BC is when this took place. The 49th year you can eat what grows of itself, but you cannot plant. The 50th year you can eat what grows from the same. Again, you cannot plant. You can plant in the third year after that. And this only happens during a 49th and 50th year Jubilee cycle. It does not happen any other time to have 2 years back to back that you cannot plant. So this is a 50th year and a 49th year back to back. And that just so happens to be 701 BC as the 49th year, sabbatical year, and 700 BC as the 50th year Jubilee. What does this all mean? When you do the math and you work it forward, remembering that there is no year zero, that tells you that 1996 was the last Jubilee year. It tells you that 1995 was the year 49. So what? In Genesis 6:3, my spirit shall not strive with man forever. His days shall be 120 years. Now, I don't know too many people that live to be 120 years old. And I used to think that would be an average. Well, it doesn't even work out to be an average. So when you take a look at the word years in Strong's Concordance, the word years can mean periods of time. So 120 periods of time, or 120 Jubilee cycles. So right away people take that and they multiply 120 by 50 to get 6,000 years. And you've all heard that. Except right now they're saying that we're in the year 6008. So we've gone past the 120, so something isn't right. So now all we have to do is add up the years that we know from history to arrive at 120, or that'll tell us where we are in which Jubilee cycle we're in. So from up to the Exodus, we've already figured out 2458. And then from Exodus, just the 4th year of Solomon's reign, when we began to build the temple, was 480 years. So I've taken 2 more years and said that the 6th year of Solomon's reign, to give us an even number of 2940, which will work out to be 60 Jubilee cycles. So to Solomon's 6th year of his reign is 60 Jubilee cycles. So that leaves him with 34 years left. 230 years from 931 to 701 BC, that gives us 5 more Jubilee cycles with 19 extra years. So we have 60 Jubilee cycles, 55 Jubilee cycles from 701 to 1995, 5 more from Solomon to 701 BC, 19 extra years, 13 extra years from 1995 to today. A total of 120 Jubilees plus 32 extra. Something's not right. We have gone past the time when the Messiah should have returned. So either Yahweh has lied to us, or we've miscalculated our chronology in history. I belong to a chronological group, and they can't figure it out when. I don't contribute to it. I just read what they say. I'm not that sharp. But they say they can't figure out past Solomon. They're even having a hard time figuring out when Solomon was actually here. So I make another assumption. I'm saying that 1996 ended the 119th Jubilee, because we obviously have too many years. So if we have too many, that means we got to be in at least the last one. If we're in the 118th one, then you've got to get rid of a whole bunch more years. I don't know where the mistake is. I'm just making an assumption. I'm telling you up front so that you know. We are in the 119th Jubilee, or 1996 ended the 119th Jubilee. 1996 begins the last Jubilee cycle. We are in the last cycle. So this is my assumption. If you disagree, I would love to hear why. 2008, when you work it out, becomes 5844, 5,844 years after creation. But the Hebrew calendar that the Jews use claim this year to be 5768. Now again, we have a problem. How is this resolved? A difference of 76 years. In Matthew 1, verse 8, we read it, and if you read it carefully, you will see that there are 4 kings left off the list of the Messiah's ancestry. 4 kings. Ahaziah, who reigned 1 year. Athaliah, who reigned 6 years. Jehoash, who reigned 40 years. Amaziah, who reigned 29 years. And lo and behold, they add up to be 76 years. In Deuteronomy it says, if you hate me, I will remove you to the 3rd and 4th generations. And these people did hate Yahweh, and they were removed. Is that why the Jews have taken out the 76 years? I don't know. It sure looks like it. But all the pieces seem to be fitting according to what I'm telling you tonight. So, the next question is, are Yahweh's sabbatical years, are they important? They show chronologically the end-time message of the feast days. They are a sign. The feasts reveal the pattern of the biblical prophecies, and that's why we went through them. So you see what's going to happen on those feast days. They're appointments with Yahweh. The Jubilee cycles reveal the 49-year pattern. The feasts reveal the yearly pattern of Bible prophecies. And when you put them together, you're going to end up understanding what I'm showing you tonight. In Daniel 9:2, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. Daniel was reading Jeremiah 25:12, where he says that 70 years were to pass before Judah would be free from the captivity. Jeremiah 29, we are told again about 70 years are to be completed. In 2 Chronicles 36, to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths, for as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years. So yes, the sabbatical years are important to Yahweh. He kicked out Judah for not obeying them. And when you take those 427 years, or 70 years of sabbatical, it works out to be 427 years, that will take you back to the time of King David, minimum. So from the time of King David to the captivity of Jerusalem was at minimum 427 years. Very interesting stuff. In Leviticus 26, we are told how Yahweh will bless us for obeying Him. But because we have wooden shoes, and wooden heads, and wouldn't listen, we're not going to look at the blessings tonight, because we just don't keep them. We never kept the Sabbaths, we never kept the holy days, and we certainly haven't kept the sabbatical years. So tonight we're going to look at what's going to happen to us for not obeying them. And this should shake you up. What will happen to us if we do not obey? And you're going to see that the nightly news has been telling you all along that these things have been happening. Ladies and gentlemen, you are that frog in the water, and you don't know it. It's getting hotter. And I'm about to show you how hot the water is. Leviticus 26:16. I, Yahweh, will even appoint over you terror. Okay, that's kind of interesting, but what does that mean? In August of 1996, Osama bin Laden declared war on the United States. Nothing happened, but he did declare war. He then declared war again in 1998. In 1998, he blew up the U.S. Embassy in Tanzania and in Kenya. He's now got some bite in his words, and he now moved to the top of the most wanted list of the Americans.